Richard, thanks for joining us today. You're just about to clock up a decade as a Sky journalist. Tell us a bit about life in the Sky newsroom.
Well, life in the Sky newsroom it's a strange place because, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we're pumping out the news. When you're asleep, when you're partying on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, there we are, putting out stories about the economy, about Ebola, whatever it might be. It just never ever stops. And of course there are fluctuations in the atmosphere and the vibe there. Sometimes it's quite quiet and quite still, you're kind of going through the motions, and other times it's absolutely one of the most tense, frantic places and exciting places that you can be. There are bright lights, there are cameras, there are people running through the corridors, and those kind of days when those breaking news stories, whatever it might be, Paris, Michael Jackson dying, I don't know. They are phenomenal days to be there. But then, of course, there's the other side. There's all the people who are not in the newsroom who are making the news, people who are out on the road getting the satellite trucks up and running, getting them through the snow and the mud to get to stories, being on location live. And these are the kind of the two worlds that coexist together to make the news. And
for you, what does a typical day look like?
Well, there isn't a typical day for me. I mean, I'm a general news reporter. I don't have a specialism. So really, it's shift work. So I wake up in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on the shift, and I will phone into the news desk, the news editor, who is kind of my manager for the day. They decide what I'm going to do, and they will literally say, today you're covering this, today you're covering that, this is where you need to go, this is when you need to be there. And that's kind of it, really. The rest is down to me to absorb pretty quickly the story, to kind of take in the information and work out a way of telling it fresh and making it sound original, and making it distinct from the way that other broadcasters will be telling that story. You wouldn't believe how many times I can be on the way to one story, I get a phone call and I get sent to another story, and it doesn't even have to, sometimes it can be you're halfway to Cardiff, actually, can you get to Southampton? It can be that unpredictable. So the back of my car has always got a change of clothes, an overnight bag, a pair of wellies, a couple of jumpers, because you just don't know where you're going to end up.
Now, how would you describe your relationship with PRs, and how can they sort of best help you with content?
I think we need to be kind of honest about the relationship with PRs. There are the kind of news stories, and there are the days when the news is what it is. You can't do much about it from a PR perspective. It's Islamic State, it's the Greek elections. There are days like that when it's very difficult, I think, for PRs to kind of cut through and make a mark. Then there are other days when the relationship is incredibly important for making the news, and they are sometimes the link, they're the people that we need in order to speak to the people we want to speak to, film in the places that we want to film, and they are incredibly helpful sometimes in facilitating access to venues and setting up filming opportunities. So I think the relationship is very, very important. And if you do have a good relationship with a PR person, it can just make such a huge difference to the quality of the news that you put out.